Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the LPL League. We are casting some of Russia's best teams at the moment, and indeed the rest of Eastern Europe. Today it's going to be Virtus.pro going up against Tricked, and we are actually already into Champion Select, so hopefully it won't be taking too long to get this underway. Obviously, bans having come out already. Irelia, Lucian, Graves, Thresh, Syndra, and Corki. Nothing really too surprising, although there is quite a heavy focus on the AD carries, which is unusual, I guess. It may imply that one or other teams particularly wants to run an unusual choice in that role. Perhaps we'll see an Ezreal or maybe even something like a Tristana sneak out. Certainly not surprising to see the Corki banned out as the last choice. Tricked obviously didn't want to let the first pick go over to Virtus.pro because Corki is pretty good right now. One of the better AD carries out there in the current meta. And of course, Janna support also probably the best support just as an overall rating. But still, not undefeatable. And certainly one we have seen have some problems in the past. A couple of characters like Thresh can actually cause some problems if they're really, really good on those hooks, but right now, that's not an option. Tricked are going to have to run without that. Interesting to see that Tricked appear to have actually changed their lineup since last I saw them. I obviously remember Moath, Tirida, Sina, and Nico, but new top laner there by the name of Homer. Going to be interesting to see how that one performs. Of course, it could be a name change. I wouldn't necessarily know if that were the case. But such is life. And no surprises there to see Moath going for his Kha'Zix. He does like to run these... I want to say he doesn't like to run heavy early ganking junglers. You know, the Lee Sins of this world. But... he does like to play more like a carry jungler, more for those sort of later game scaling champions, and Kha'Zix is one of them. It's perhaps a little bit odd that we're seeing it this time, though, given that it's a little bit less popular. Since the new jungle came in, Kha'Zix has a lot of problems with surviving, basically, in his early clear, and a strong invade jungler can actually really, really punish that. Of course, Vi is actually going on a similar token there, so everyone's sticking to their comfort picks, perhaps not having branched out their champion pools in the new meta, even though several major picks are available. You know, in an ideal world where everyone played every champion, even champions like Sejuani, I would actually currently rate over the Kha'Zix or the Vi. And of course, the powerhouse Pantheon is still available as well, but will most likely, unless he's being played mid, be picked this time. So, we're going to be seeing if this composition from Virtus.pro can work out. Right now, they seem to be picking themselves a pretty solid all around, but they might be causing themselves some problems in the laning phase, particularly on that bottom lane. If we look at a Janna and a Jinx at the same time, they are going to, generally their power curves are very similar. Like they scale up as the game goes on, pretty much in a gradual sense. Janna is pretty strong around that level 9, especially because she gets the shield maxed and it's very, very difficult to trade with Jinx. But level 2, level 3, level 4, really quite weak, and Sona's going to be able to sustain any bad trades up. Ezreal, if he's able to go aggressive and push you away from the minions, becomes X amount more dangerous. He is just so threatening in that scenario. And not that surprised to see choice there going with that. Cyrus, obviously a very good mid laner in general. They've saved that last pick for him. So, see what he's going to be running up against. So, Cassiopeia, I almost want to say she might be worth it, but I wouldn't want to see her blind picked. And I'm expecting that what we're going to be seeing here is an Orianna Ari matchup. Tricked is just, that's just what Tyrannus really likes to run. It's his comfort pick. It's his comfort champion. And a Mundo Maokai matchup in the top lane. Nothing too surprising there. Against Zerath, I'd still expect to see the Ari, honestly. still fits pretty well with the composition they're going for. Very mobile, very assassin-focused. A lot of burst. Maybe not such a good team fight if it gets to the late game, but not so bad that it's ever going to be out of contention completely. Still, they seem to be taking a long time to make this decision, so maybe there's something else that I'm not picking up on here. LeBlanc is an option and is very, very difficult for Xerath to deal with. I mean, we saw it at IEM, San Jose. Power of Evil dumpstered Bjergsen in that exact matchup. I mean, there are a couple of things that a Xerath can do to sort of mitigate it, to predict the LeBlanc, but you have to outplay her. And it's going to be pretty tricky to outplay Tyrannus. He is one of the best players he's certainly the best mid laner in EUNE, and he's one of the better players in EU West, so very, very strong. Going to be interesting, actually, though, to my mind, to see if the level here of Peter Poker, because we've seen him already, and he looked pretty decent, and Virtus.pro in general looked fairly solid on a strategic level, but their individual talent did seem to have some issues. They couldn't quite match up when we saw them with this really cool level 1 invade. They really, really messed about with enemy jungler, but in the end, even though they got themselves like 5k ahead, couldn't close it out. So, Virtus.pro, a lot to work on there, but they have picked themselves such a strong late game that if they get there, I no matter what the level of individual difference is, I don't see Tricked winning out. The mid game, however, that's going to be where the real game is played. Can Tricked build themselves up an advantage? Can they get themselves ahead? If they can, with Ezreal, with LeBlanc, with all that burst and all those single target CCs and all that mobility, it could be trivial for them to control the game, take so much advantage, so many outer towers, and from there simply close out. But they may have some issues with the wave clear from Xerath if he's able to keep himself alive through the laning phase. And obviously, Mundo is not going to be easy to push around either. So, looking to hope to see some coordinated dives. Mundo in particular, if they could get the LeBlanc roam up, even pre-6 with the Kha'Zix and a Maokai, that's so much CC and so much damage, it would be really relatively easy to kill a Mundo even at his tower. And something Mirror End is probably going to want to be taking account of and being very, very careful about. So, all told, it's quite a tricky game to call, but I've got to favour Trick just on the grounds that I know them pretty well. So, hopefully we'll be onto the Rift fairly soon. Shouldn't take too much longer, I would imagine, though it is always a little bit tough to call. We sometimes have the odd toaster. This is an online tournament after all, and everyone's using their home PCs. Please give me an SSD, somebody. But I am probably not the bottleneck today. But looks like Power of Dreams is actually the one. On an 88% at the moment. So let's all just wish his hamster a Merry Christmas, and do please get some steroids. It needs to be running around the wheel a little faster. As at the moment we stare at the 100% bars that signify that we are not quite 100% there, but the computer's pretty sure it'll be done in any immediate fashion. And there we are, onto the Rift, as we see. And I just noticed there is like no health and safety here on the summoning platform. Like if you look at the back of it, it's just a precipice. Jinx spawned and then like took a step backwards, she'd be off. Out of the game. Done. 4v5. Not like that ever happens. But Tricked versus Virtus.pro. Oh, and by the way, my name is Spuddington. I sort of forgot to say it. Got into the thick of the analysis with no preamble, and Peter Poker is Well, he's alive. Didn't cost him any summoner spells, but he did give Sona the Spell Thief stacks. So you know. Tricked is already ahead by 15 gold. And Power of Dreams is throwing some cleavers. Quite a bit of damage actually off those, so yeah, always got to be respecting that Mundo in the level 1. Cleaver is probably one of, if not the most powerful super early game spells. Moath gets his ward down, and it looks like they're going to be trying to make sure they know where exactly the juggler is starting here. Mirror End, however, has been helped out by his laner there. That is Power of Dreams with a sweeper first. Quite unexpected in my view, but it looks like that's because they're going for the 2v1 here. I did mention earlier that Virtus.pro might have some issues in a 2-on-2. It's not too surprising to see them rotate around to try and avoid that. And go for the late invade here. This is going to mess with Moath a bit. Nothing too serious. He's going to have to start somewhere else. He really shouldn't stick around, though. He should give up on that. Go somewhere else. Start on the red buff, it looks like. Let that go. Can't hold it back anymore. Seems like Power of Dreams will be able to get himself the Krugs for himself with Licrit's help. Although Horate is coming around the corner. Probably thinking about the nerve of these people to steal away these strange rock scarab things. I'm not sure I like the idea of Krugs. I kind of preferred it when they were just golems, but that's how it is. I like Gromp. Good name for a frog is Gromp. Tyrannus in the mid lane right now. Already you can see the respect that Peter Poker is being forced to give. If he gets in range, takes the QW, he knows he's going to lose that trade instantly. It's a big, big gap. That is why he is being Xerath and hence very, very far away from the enemy. Moath in a battle to the death with his blue buff, and actually really does need to watch it, but is okay. Isolation damage is king. We've ended up in this interesting situation right now where Maokai is being helped out by Sona in this top lane. That's going to actually give him a lot of sustain, so it'll be very, very difficult to push him out of the lane. Because this is, of course, Maokai's passive is pretty strong in a solo lane, but everyone forgets it procs more if you've got people casting spells next to you in Sona. He is casting spells all day. So, that of course leaves Ezreal in a solo lane against Mundo, but that's not a major threat for Tricked. They know that Mundo at level 6, maybe he'll be able, if Signer's quite, extended, he might be able to chase down an Ezreal from that scenario, but pre-6, he's just got no threat at all to Ezreal, no ability to gap close, and even after 6, going to need a lot of distance to cover in order to do that. Oh. Perfect. How are you doing right now, Tyrannus? 23 to 21. Nothing too surprising. Although he has that advantage in the early laning phase, it's not really going to get serious until level 6. That's also when I'm expecting to see Moath go for the gank up there. The Kha'Zix closing. Quite often we see Moath go for wings first as well, which would make sense in this scenario. And with the major gap closing of those two together, that obviously becomes very, very serious gank pressure. It sort of necessitates at least a flash. This might be an opportunity here with this many minions backed up, though they've got to be a bit careful. Tyrannus is getting up close. He will force the flash out, but there's actually quite a few minions that he just sacrificed to that gank, and he's still low on health, so you must be careful in this scenario. Diner roaming straight up through Tribrush. Interesting route to take. Not too convinced about the Ezreal gank. Meanwhile, in top lane, Vincent Vega actually got caught out there by the aggression. Nico also gets dropped, but that's a worthy sacrifice, I think we'll all agree. Janna with the kill there. Isn't going to scale too super duper hard. Donut blowing all her summoners. Pretty much a similar scenario on the other side. The flash still remains on Jinx. There was no way out of that scenario. And if you can hear that, that's my potentially my father yelling up the stairs that dinner is ready. But sadly, I'm not available right now. So that's how it is sometimes. So that's how it is sometimes. And thank God for the microphone mute button. Unfortunately, I am the solo caster today, so you're left with a simple pause when that is happening. But not like I like to talk anyway. Looks like we're going to be seeing an early dragon here from Tricked, and with obviously this being the tournament realm, we are still on patch 4.20, not a 4.21, and that is why they are juggling the dragon in this way. No longer possible on the new patch. Does enable some very early dragons. Kha'Zix's pretty good at that old trick. He's got the claws, the isolation damage. Murind is actually going to pop over there pretty soon, I suspect, but he's in fact not going to do that at all. I take it back. This is a very, very slow dragon, and actually in mid lane, totally missed what was going on there. Not gonna lie. Sorry about that one. Too interested in the dragon. They got it. There are actually it's quite a large level gap at the moment, though, in the jungle. Level 5 to level 6, and Moath only just hit that 6 now. Mirror End, however, probably going to be spending some time. Oh, maybe not in the death chamber. Does escape, forced to blow his flash. Going to be spending some time on the spawn pad and at least losing something from his jungle, most likely, even if it's just a certain level of vision control. Early wards. Support jungler buddy system. Jinx has been able to push down that tower, though. You might view it as worthwhile on the side of Tricked, in that they were able to get Maokai pretty decently strong with like 2 kills on him. The simple fact that Jinx has been able to farm up equally to Ezreal, and the simple fact that Mundo, in fact, has been able to outfarm Maokai means that I've really got to favour Virtus.pro's strategy there. They've definitely been able to come out well, but that's been the storyline every time we've seen this team. They have got a very good grasp of the game. They do know how to play the map, but they don't ever win the game, and it comes down to critical execution failure at the last minute usually. Might prove to be the case this time as well. Time will tell. Certainly, though, we have got the delay on the power spike for Tricked. Here it is. Level 6 has not yet yielded a kill, and in fact it yielded a death, so that's not ideal by any means. ENG doing a pretty solid job overall, to be honest. Forces the wave clear out there from LeBlanc. Looks like we're going to be seeing normal service resuming in bottom lane. Steiner and Nico grouping up there and allowing the 2v2. But Jinx is now a lot stronger than she would have been in the super early game. Same being true of Janna, and it's especially true that it's going to be hard for this to work in their favor when Ezreal has gone for a very late game orientated build here. He's gone for the tier, gone for the Sheen, and Homer is going to be in trouble here. See, this is the thing. Normally, in a laning phase of a 1v1 like this, Power Dreams wouldn't be able to chase this down forever because he'd have hit the tower. Ain't no tower here, sir. And over time, Mundo will burn you down. That's just how he works. A good call there. Tyrannus also went very low in that mid lane, but has survived, and there is no Azerath ult left to fire. Meanwhile, gank in the bot lane. Nico actually going to be taking a lot of damage and taken down. So, very good stuff here from Virtus.pro. They would want to take a dragon, but not going to be an option here. Not sure they can even really dive Signer. They don't quite have the health, they're not quite tanky enough, and they don't really have a lot of minions either, so he's going to be able to farm up reasonably well even now at this tower and slow down that push. They're going to take that tower if they keep pushing, but obviously it's taken long enough that they can't say for certain whether they're going to get gonked for it. And that is not what's going to happen this time. No Gonkarino, Blizzarino. Or something. Tricked. Are currently continuing to maintain this vision control. Nico, a little bit brave perhaps, but gets away with it. Does know, of course, that there has been a recent back from 3 members of Virtus.pro, so good timing, I guess, on that one. Force them to take it all back. Moath did indeed go for that wings upgrade in the end, so he's got that ganking prowess, but I have yet to see him go mid, and that could be a bit of an issue for him, especially with Tyrannus actually right now, well, going quite low, but no further low because of the dodging mechanics there, and I did not catch what went on top lane either. I am not the best cameraman today, and it's actually going to be another gank in the mid lane. Tyrannus is going to pick that one up. And there we go. That's kind of what I was expecting to see a little bit earlier from Tricked, but, well, they have executed in the end, and never do today what you can put off till tomorrow, obviously. So, that is going to be a little bit expensive, but with the presence now of bot lane roaming around the jungler in procession, it's going to be very hard to take that tower off it, and they really do need to focus that mid tower. If it is at all possible, then Tricked need to take that. If they do not, they are going to struggle a lot with getting the control over the map in order to set up picks for LeBlanc. That's what she needs to be doing right now, but she is struggling. Coming back into lane, obviously with a one-on-one is nice. It's a little bit of a windfall. Perhaps not as much as they'd like. Continuing to wave clear it out. Power of Dreams shows up for the party. The free bar is over. Tyrannus is going to be a little bit tricky to catch down on. But that could have been bad. And now in bot lane, there's actually a double man gank behind on Vincent Vega. But Mirror End was waiting in the brush for them. Exhaust onto the Jinx, though, is going to shut down a lot of her damage. Moath, however, coming in, gets that kill, and will walk out for his team. But here comes Power of Dreams. He is a huge, big man. He is very, very tanky. And over time, as I've said, he will burn you down. Homer is going to have to run, but I don't think he is going to escape. Moath is... I am not entirely sure what Moath is doing, but he's been forced to jump his way out, flash his way out as well, I do believe. Maokai may yet escape, though, so maybe that was worthwhile from his perspective. Tyrannus came in behind and didn't really achieve very much in that fight either. Still trying to catch someone out, but they're too alert to it. Virtus.pro, they know what they're doing just that little bit too much here. This dragon, maybe a touch on the risky side with Mirror End still being squishy and no Power of Dreams ult. They should at least get the dragon. They do, in fact, do so. Get Tyrannus as well, they do. It's all coming up Virtus.pro right now. Late game team comp. Controlling the map early. Getting the farm on the important players, getting the kills on the important players. Really, all told, that looks to me like it's feet staring Tricked in the face, which is, you know, it's, I'm obviously jumping the gun a bit there. We've still got a ways to go in this game. They are far from that far behind. And that is a Medjay. That's on Janna. Okay, fair enough. For those of you who aren't so aware, Janna typically does go for that Medjay's Soul Stealer. So, like, it's a sometimes thing, but you can go for it on the grounds that basically Janna never dies, unless she's made a horrible mistake. So Janna can go for the Medjay's, hold on to the stacks, get that farmed up, and it's a highly efficient item if you can build up a decent number of stacks. So very nice. And now, seems like Ezreal Sina is not particularly confident going for this trade-off against Jinx, and fair play to him, probably he would lose, and Mirror End is there as well, so he is most likely very, very much disinclined to go for that fight right now. But can he actually get anything done? And Virtus is continuing to struggle like hell in that mid lane. That is a difficult fight for him. Unusual to see it. Honestly, usually the mobility of LeBlanc means that the skill shot focus of Xerath is a big problem for him, but it's proving not to be the case here. Now, actually, Moath and Mirror End are possibly angling towards the same area. This could be a little bit interesting. Kha'Zix counter ganker extraordinaire. Doesn't want to walk face first into Vi and Janna though. Should be okay not to. Say hi to Liquid. And now he's going to say hi to Virtus.pro's Peter Pokier, and that is not going to keep him alive for very long. Indeed. That was a little bit unfortunate there for Moath. He thought he was safe, just prying around there, looking for an angle, looking for that flank, but couldn't find it. Gets the kill. Jumps out now. So, Tricked. What can you do? Eco taking so much poke. Tricked have got to really pull their socks up right now, because they're going to have to go for a fight and engage, but it's already gotten to a point where I'm not sure how they deal with Mundo. I'm not sure how they deal with the sustained damage from Jinx. And it's only going to get worse with time, so they're going to need to do something drastic really early. Get the poke down and take out Tyrannus, though. And Virtus.pro secure themselves this tower. There is no way Tricked can contest this, and I don't even know why they're sticking around. Their wave clear is poor with these three players, and the damage is just too high. Maybe they're going to do something wacky like a flash crescendo, but if they did, I don't think it's going to work in their favor. Jinx is going to burn down that tower, and it will go the way of the dodo as Moath is still looking for that flank that never comes. Virtus.pro continue to control the enemy jungle. This is very clean stuff from them so far. And this is what I said before, their whole strategy generally has been like a map control focus. There's a flash in there from Nico, but I'm not sure he's going to get much from it. Actually, meanwhile, Power of Dreams forced to run off the side, but it's actually Vincent Vega picking up lots of kills. Does miss the ultimate there as Moath flashes out the way. So, nice couple of kills there for Tricked. Having to sacrifice their support for it, and not really able to get too much though. Means that I'm not sure that's going to change the flow of the game, especially with Power of Dreams now coming in. He is actually a big threat. And once again, we're left in this scenario where no one has the damage to focus down Power of Dreams. Even if they kill Mirror End in this scenario, they aren't going to win this fight. There's no escape from the Mundanator. Sina whiffs the last Q. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Peter Pokier is going to be trying to get himself out of dodge. Throwing down the W. And Power of Dreams just comes up there to ward off any potential follow-up. Good stuff from Pro still. Controlling the game. Controlling the pace of the game. That's how it goes. Trick need to find themselves some ground, though. Oh, this could get really ugly for them. Really fast. All it needs is one big fight. And they are going to lose a lot of towers to the sheer threat, the sheer pressure of a Jinx. Shoving on down. But giving over the second dragon is not really the best way back into your game, typically. Directing that towards Tricked, really. And, well, I mean, I can understand them respecting it. They didn't have the vision in the area, but are they going to let the Baron go as well? I mean, you can't just drop every single objective to the enemy team without any contest. You just can't. What are they doing right now? Tricked are just sat back and allowing Virtus.pro to take everything on the map. They don't have any idea this is going on. It's too late already. And that is a dragon, that is a Baron, both of them going over, and Tricked haven't left their own jungle. They don't even know. And Moat is about to find out. He has in fact done so. Been forced to ult and jump out. Homer himself not going to survive, not even going to be able to do any emergency farming, because he is, of course, dealing with Baron buffed minions. And Tricked just look lost. They just look like they have no idea what to do. Or no idea what to do after that 2v1. Bizarre situation to find yourself in. Complete lack of proactivity, basically, from Tricked. And if you're in a scenario where neither side is being proactive, then whichever team has the better late game wins, because obviously neither of you are doing anything, and the game goes on and everyone gets richer. That's how it works. Everyone always gets more gold. Of course, now it is Virtus.pro's sort of onus. It is their yoke. They must do something with this lead that they have. Although, in fairness, if they get no progress but don't start losing out, then that's still not a disaster for them. They do want to be making something from the Baron, obviously, but there could be worse scenarios, is all I'm saying. They are going to be grouping up now, engineering the tower siege. They have got Jinx to try and hit on the tower, but got to be a little bit careful about that one. It's, there's always that threat. Nico's flash is coming up very, very soon, and I think that's really Tricked's only out here. They have to go for the flash crescendo. But will they be able to find the opportunity? That is the question. He has been pink warded. They can see he may actually be able to get close for this. They're going to be moving up to the tower, and that makes it very, very awkward. Flash does go in, and the crescendo. Maokai into the middle. They're trying to disengage from it, though. Virtus.pro doing a pretty good job of keeping people alive, but Jinx has gone down, and now Mundo, he is going to be jumping in behind the enemy tower. Does take out Sina for his trouble, but Peter Poker goes down. Licrit is going to be in some significant trouble here. May be able to survive and may actually be able to get the kill by virtue of Baron buffed minions, but it's a little bit tricky to call. He is actually going to get it from Baron buffed minions. And because of that last little kill there, that actually is going to mean the Tricked are going to lose the tower. They got the perfect engage for them. Absolutely beautiful. And Janna has 19 stacks on her Medjais, which is why her Zephyr is doing so much damage. What the hell? But with that may have just broken back a Tricked. They're not going to have flash on Nico anytime soon. They're not going to have such a perfect angle, most likely, ever again. They won't be able to kill Vincent Vega right at the start of the fight. Ever again, most likely. He's surely going to be positioned just a little bit more carefully in future. And maybe they can sit in their base. Maybe they can wait it out. Wait until this gold gap has gone away. The Baron buff is depleted on Janna. And, you know, try for the equal grounds late game. But their late game is just incomparably poor. So the onus is on picks. But how do you find a pick if the enemy team is pushed up to your tower? The answer is you don't. They don't even have the vision control to set anything up anyway. Virtus.pro wants to go for that bottom tower at least. But they're quite happy to not go into the jungle. They may as well just sit there, go over the tower, hit the tower, hit it with damage, and eventually win out. They have got the elixir here onto Jig as well, so that's a nice little extra bonus. Blue build Ezreal. Very much the in thing at the moment, but not so convinced by it in this scenario. Maybe gives them an answer to the poke from Xerath, I guess. But I don't think it's enough. And right now, I think they need direct team fighting power, and it's not giving them that. Not giving them that straight damage to burn through Mundo, because what do? How on earth does a blue build Ezreal deal with a Mundo in any reasonable amount of time? It's just not possible, but they're going to try for an engage anyway, and Vincent Vega once again is a bit out of position. Will be able to keep himself alive this time though with his flash, and Maokai is nowhere near as tanky as Mundo. He will go down. They will chase under the tower, and Power of Dreams takes that one out. Triple kill for the Xerath of Peter Poker, meaning the inhib breaks and the back tricked so far bent you could sit in it. That may well in fact be the game, as Virtus.pro are going to push this one down. Moa is paused. I'm not gonna be honest here, Xerath. You're complaining about lag, but I'm not really sure you need to be connected at this point. Jinx is doing work on them towers. Power of Dreams has got enough tank left in him to, well, withstand the other tower for quite some significant length of time. But, you know, team's prerogative, I guess. Maybe they wouldn't be able to push it down. I can't actually... my camera is, of course, frozen in its current position. They have 3 caster creeps. Can they do it with this amount of health? I still think they can, and I still think they should. And Moal clearly thinks they can, because he is not having any of that. And with that slightly oddly timed pause, we are going to be ending the game. So, honestly, Tricked had absolutely no answer there. Iridas, best love in the world here, but really underperforming there. Was not able to kill Peter Poker at all in the lane there. Nothing he could do. Couldn't catch him. Couldn't force him to roam. Couldn't push out the wave and then roam himself. Couldn't do anything to kill the Xerath he was up against. And that was a large focus for them in Champion Select. They spent a lot of their picking power, as it were, their bans, their choices. They left the last pick so they could get that good matchup for Tyrannus, but he just wasn't able to do it. He just wasn't able to find any purchase. And that really meant that there was no snowball for Tricked, with no Kha'Zix snowballing as well. They were left struggling against a vastly superior team fighting composition and a very farm Mundo. So once again, Virtus.pro show their tactical prowess, their strategic brilliance, but I'm honestly not entirely convinced by their team fighting still, having seen the way Vincent Vega got himself way out of position twice in a row. But this time it just didn't matter, because they were just so far ahead on the team fighting on a strategic level that Tricked had absolutely nothing they could do. And with that, guys, that's going to be it for us today. We only had the one best of one, since I do believe HWA has dropped out of the tournament. We're not going to be able to cast their games for the rest of it, for obvious reasons. And so, I hope you've enjoyed the casting today, but do feel free to follow the channel, which has a follow button in the bottom left corner, I do believe. And also feel free to follow me on Twitter at Spuddington. We will be bringing you some more action later on, but not entirely sure when that will be. Possibly tomorrow. In fact, probably tomorrow. But guys, it's been a pleasure. See you some other time.